Lipton was married to him, and they had 2 daughters. One of the daughters is
my brain's just not clicking.
Yeah, I know.
He produced. He was like the
producer
of all these great records. Yeah.
And then he did the
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones and his daughters. And
who doesn't know that name, Quincy Jones? OMG. Wow, y'all got a good repertoire. Y'all man, you're like psychic to the Hollywood stars, you know it?
So who was that writer you did in Newport? That writer?
Oh, Dean Koontz.
The guy you wrote? Dean Koontz?
Yeah, Dean Koontz. Yeah, great guy.
Good Lance. The Dean Koontz with the K-O-O-N-T-Z?
Yeah.
Jeez, well, you know, me being a writer, I'm like very impressed.
What an incredible, beautiful home he had, and what a great wife he had. And I met the dog, I met the wife. Incredible library, great library. Very impressive, beautifully done, incredible house. Yeah. Gosh, who else, Rich? I've got a long list of people.
Well, you should try to write them all down. I try to tell Janet to write down all the TV shows she's been on.
Chuck Woolery. Oh, my gosh. Oh, he was so
I love
annoyed.
him. Now, tell me about him. Black hair, folks. Chuck Woolery's game show host, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't it? What was it? What was his show, Rich?
My brain's really not clicking today, so I don't know.
What is up with you, Rich? Go get your sugar water. Where's your iced tea? Where's your sun tea?
Where's your sun tea? Chuck Woolery.
I don't remember either, Rich. I'm just giving you a bad time.
That's okay.
No. Chuck Woolery did. Listen, did he do the card shark game, Chuck Woolery, or
the dating game?
The dating game. Yeah, that's it. Chuck Woolery in the dating game.
Yeah. So
right?
he wanted to do a new show, and one of the things was they said, well, we're going to bring a psychic on, and you're going to have to get a reading, on the air. And he was so annoyed about that. As soon as his bit was over, he was like, get this person off my stage. It was so funny.
Oh, my gosh.
He didn't have any choice. He didn't have a choice. I was brought in. NBC brought me in to take and do readings on people that were going to be potential hosts for a show, and it was really, if you want to find a way to put somebody on the spot, tell them they have to take off their shoes and socks and have their feet read.
Ooh.
And that's what they did to these poor actors that just wanted to be rich and famous, didn't want to have to show their feet. And it was really kind of a fun thing to do. Yeah. So those are the only ones I think of right now.
You were doing foot readings? Are you telling me you were doing foot readings so people could get jobs, and Chuck Woolery was one that had to have his feet read?
Well, so they took and they for some reason or another, Hollywood always likes something that's gimmicky. And so they decided that they were trying to so I did Chuck Woolery's new show. He was trying to get a new show off the ground, which never succeeded. And one of the things they said, well, let's bring on this psychic, and she'll read your feet, and this will be part of something different to promote your show. And so they brought me on, and I actually did a show. I did a reading for Debbie Reynolds, and I didn't know any part of her.
I love Debbie Reynolds. There's another person. Now, she worked with me in Vegas. She worked with me at a convention. She had her own line of something. And Carrie Fisher. I met Meryl Streep and Carrie Fisher out at the mall. They actually talked to me like we were talking. They liked what I was wearing. I was like, oh, my God. They thought I was cool.
So Debbie Reynolds was getting ready to open up a casino in Las Vegas, and she came on to a producer and asked them if she could be included in the lineup. And the producer said, sure, as long as you'll have your feet read. And Debbie Reynolds said, I'll do it if you'll have somebody go to my house and get my ruby slippers. And there were 3 pairs of ruby slippers that were used for the Wizard of Oz. And somebody went and got the slippers and they brought them back. And it was so funny because she's got tiny feet. And those, because, Judy Garland, I think she was 12 years old when she did that movie. And she probably had very average feet, but they were tiny. And they fit Debbie Reynolds. She could wear them for the little thing that we did. But afterwards, one of the women who was one of the hosts, she wanted to try them on, and it just made things a little bit nervous. But
awkward.
Yeah, well, yeah,
because like the glass slipper.
I think Debbie Reynolds has like a size. She had a size 4.5 foot. I think she was like one of those real tiny little feet.
You should have seen her next to me because I'm like 5'11", and she just loved me. But you talk about great with people. At least when I was with her, she was right there at the and she would had a table, and I had a table, and we weren't at the I was doing my clothes, cork, from Hawaii, and in Vegas, and when we got off the plane, all my stuff, my brand, was in all the shops. It was the latest thing, gold and cork. Yeah, the shoes and the handbags when you got off the plane in Las Vegas and you walked down. But I'm trying to remember, how did that happen? Because my brain remembers going, and maybe it was Caesars too, I don't know, but going down somewhere where all these shops had my stuff, but I don't know where that was. But she was tiny, but oh my God. Now that we're talking about the Debbie Reynolds. Now, do you remember wasn't she the Tammy? Because I grew up watching her movies, right? So I was I couldn't believe I was meeting her in human form.
What a great actress. And I did not know her story, and I have a copy of the reading I did for her on air. So, yeah, she's really, really very kind and very sweet. And, her husband was a gambler, and he left her $11 million in debt, and she paid every penny of that back.
Eddie Fisher?
Yeah, he was a big gambler.
I'm not looking on anything, folks. My computer's down right now, black. I'm just going from living. That's why I like baby boomers, because we all live about the same time, and we can talk from living it, right?
Right. Yeah, so
Eddie Fisher.
And he had a terrible gambling problem. And the people that he owed the money to, they said, oh, forget it. Now, let me tell you something. If somebody said to me, oh, your husband debts, oh, he died, oh, forget it. You know what I'd say? I'd say, I owe you for the rest of my life. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. And not her. She paid that $11 million back when $11 million really meant something, too. I tell you, she paid those debts off, and there was a very clear marking on her feet. She had really strong tendons, and so I thought, and I talked about that. And, of course, I didn't know I was going to be reading her, so it wasn't like I was prepped. It was like I was scheduled on, I was part of the show, and then she wanted to be in that show to promote her upcoming casino opening, and so I didn't know. So it was kind of an interesting thing, because later I read that story and I thought, oh, what a sad story. So anyway, that's Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, in the 70s, Debbie Reynolds was she was a starlet.
Yeah. Anne Margaret and Debbie Reynolds. I watched all the Tammy Is in Love. Now, Rich, what about you? Because look at the time, because I told you I was trying something new, which I shouldn't do. I should know after 8 years, don't go direct. It always messes up and locks everything up. So,
well, hey, we're talking. We're
okay until I don't know how we're going to hang up. But, Rich, who is the famous people you met?
Come on, tell the story of, what's his name, Dennis Rodman.
Oh, yeah, ooh, I love him too. He's a tall, dark, and handsome drink of water. I don't like the ring he wears in his nose, though, sometimes. Did he have the ring in his nose when you met him?
Oh, yeah, he's a character, yeah. So I'm 6'3", 6'4", but hey, Dennis, and I'm looking up like I'm looking up to the stars. This guy's like about 7 foot. He was huge. But I did a painting he opened up a restaurant in Newport Beach. I did that for him. So, yeah, he's just a great character. He's just a big boy. He's just a...
What kind of painting? I know yours can run about $5,000, right? If you do original oil, and that's cheap, right? Did he want one original sitting?
No, he did. I did one of his restaurant outside of his restaurant. It was a kind of a scenic, landmark kind of restaurant in Newport Beach. We called it Josh Slocum. So it's kind of had that New England kind of fisherman look to it. But so I did a painting for that and hung it up in his restaurant. So that was pretty good. One of the coolest things me and Suzanne did. Oh, you want a question? Go ahead.
No. It's funny because he didn't ever succeed there in the restaurant because all of the neighbors and all the people in that area, and that's a very, very wealthy area. It's probably not really well understood, but Newport Beach has these little teeny tiny islands off of it, and individual people or groups of people own these islands. And so it's not just Newport Beach, which is expensive, but then it's these people that have like a home on Lido Isle, and they're used to a very controlled, sedate atmosphere. And he came in with his friends, and he had helicopters landing, and he had limousines, and he had wild women coming all hours. I don't think he made it a year. If it was a year, I'd be really, really surprised. They shut that stuff down. They said, you can't be doing that here. Oh, God, it was fun.
We're too rich for this kind of lifestyle. You're too young for us. Your lifestyle. Go back to Hollywood, huh?
Yeah, he had the toys. One time we were painting a wedding and up in L.A., and this lady, it was $1 million wedding, unbelievable.
Wow!
It was called The Wedding of the Century, and we know her as Iris Smith, and it was the gifts that the groomsmen got was a Rolex watch, and the bridesmaid got an original Paris couture dress.
Nice.
Those were the gifts, and they spent over $1 million on just the roses. And who was the performer, Rich?
Yeah, so I'm painting away, and just getting into my zone, and I hear the reception going on in the background, and they go, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Stevie Wonder." So Stevie Wonder gets up and starts playing. And that was just magical. I run upstairs. Suzanne was in the break room or something. And I go, come down here. You got to see who's playing. So.
Oh, yeah, it was funny. Yeah, he performed at the next daughter's wedding, too. And they also had Sting perform at that wedding. Remember, so she put on 2 weddings for her daughters. And the idea is that she was going to have the wedding of the century. That was her goal, and I think for many years that might remain in that status symbol. But it was something.
Now, the people you like, your friends, are coming on Tuesday, Stan and Tara. I've never met any of these people, folks, but working in the psychic business, you just sort of get a vibration. But these 2 people are beautiful. During this COVID-19, I think they're going to try to find their place in digital marketing with us, but at the same time, they're just beautiful. And their son is a drummer. They have 2 sons. One works for Sting. Isn't that right, Sting?
Right. And
tell people about that.
I don't. Actually, I think there's some sort of let's see. So I can't ever remember, Rich. They have 2 sons, right? One is Josh.
Yeah, one plays drums for the Sting and his band, and another plays keyboards for Green Day. And they're just really great musicians, and they come from a great musician family. Like I say, Stan's he's a star. So you talk about stars who we met. I mean, Stan's been there and done that with a lot of things. So, yeah, Stan Freed.
And
he's an
Stan
amazing
was on Hee Haw for years.
Hee Haw.
And I got to see him, but I didn't know until Rich, the guy you're listening to tonight with us here, Rich Flynn, the famous artist, especially to the stars, and the big, rich, famous wedding people. And you may not know their name, but when they pay the millions out for their weddings, you have to get Rich come, and he sits there and paints what he sees, and he got commissioned even by the city of LA to do that, and then this Dennis Rodman and his restaurant. So it's quite a unique thing that Rich is doing. But Rich sent